right, let's start this off, y'all.
The Otaku podcast is brought to you by Stuff and Things. Get them while they're hot, because they taste better that way. They're pretty good sometimes. Things. I don't know.
All right, H. John Benjamin.
And by H. John Benjamin. Fuck you.
H. John Benjamin breakfast cereal. It's just shapes. Weird fucking shapes.
That makes me want to watch home movies again.
Like concave ellipsoid.
The good seasons. What?
Give your kid the shapes they can't pronounce for their mouth. John H. Benjamin cereal. H. John Benjamin cereal.
John H. Benjamin.
What the hell?
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Radioplasm!
Welcome to the Otaku podcast. I am your host, AJ. With me is Marcus, a.k.a. Beaver Sleever.
Hey, Beaver.
You never watched Leave It to Beaver, did you?
Yeah, that's what he sounded like, right? He's like, hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom, me and Billy are going to go ride our bikes down to the gorge.
I'm going to go get some beaver. Me and Billy are going to go kill
Who
some
goes
beavers.
to the gorge? Nobody goes to the gorge in elementary school.
That's where they went. That's where all the kids at the fishing hole. Meet down at the fishing hole.
Meet us at the gorge
Catch me a
for
bass.
Initiation.
And
we're going to get
also,
some poontang.
Alan, a.k.a. Sambo Crinkins.
I can't just Sambo Crinkins here. I'm going to put some doodads in your stocking bags.
It sounds like a bad chicken restaurant.
I already forgot. Sambo Crinkins?
Sambo
Crinkins.
Crinkins.
Sambo
It looks like
Crinkins.
Samba chicken slightly when you're looking at the text. Anyway.
Speaking of chicken.
Yes.
What's that?
That's it.
You gonna follow that up? Or are you just gonna?
It gets better.
What segue? What segue?
No,
do you
I don't have a
right
segue.
now?
That was just it. That was it. That was the joke.
Speaking of chicken.
Thanks for being a part of it.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna play a game, and Alan's gonna run it, and I will just leave it at that.
Oh, I thought we weren't going to do that.
Jesus Christ!
I'm just kidding. I just like.
Don't burp the Lord's name in vain, you fucking bitch.
Can't respond to that.
Repent, you fucking bitch. Okay.
Oh man. Anywho, yeah.
This game is called "What Were They Trying to Say When They Said the Words from Another Language?" Yep, that's what it's
Awesome.
called.
I thought it was called the name game.
You're the name game.
No, we already have 86
We
other
have
games
4
called the
name
name
games.
game. This is a different game.
You gotta give it an epic name, like
That was an epic name.
Battle of Wits and Translations, Epic Edition. 2.
No.
It's called Tits
No.
and Tasers.
Perfect. Do it.
Explain the rules. How
I
do we
give
play
you
this?
a phrase that was poorly translated, and you tell me what they were trying to say. Are you
It's
ready?
pretty simple.
Who wants to
Yeah.
go first? AJ, pick a number.
2
You're wrong. Marcus goes first.
hardly seems fair, but let's go with it.
All right. This is here we go. Here's the phrase. You tell me what they were trying to say. We
All right.
refuse to use only the toilets.
We refuse to use only the toilets.
Are these like Japanese signs, like signs they put in Japan, but are
Yeah.
printed in English?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Mostly.
And that's not what they meant to say? I mean, I think that's a pretty
What's
straightforward
the context
sentence.
for the sign? Was somebody holding it in protest, or
No, it was a posted sign. It was permanent.
We
It was
refused-
affixed.
Like within a
We
bathroom?
refuse to use only the toilets.
Within an establishment. I don't want to
Within
give it
an
away.
establishment.
We refuse to use.
You would see this.
Please,
toilets.
please use only the toilets.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I get a guess?
AJ,
Or
what
you
do
get, okay.
Yeah, you get to guess.
Okay. Please use the toilet for number 1 and number 2, and then wash your hands in the sink.
All right, what did you say, Marcus?
I said, please use only the toilets.
But it said
Because
we
people
refuse to use only the
I know, but that's not what they meant to say.
Fair enough. What did you say, AJ? Please use
I don't know.
number
I
one, number
didn't
2.
really. Something about number 1. Hold on. Let me try again. Please, we refuse to use only the toilets. We will. Something about cleaning. Like we refuse to clean up doo-doo from the toilet or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I gotta remember what Marcus said real quick.
Please use only the toilets. I didn't
Okay.
change it that much.
Yeah, you didn't change it that much. I'm gonna give it to AJ. It's restrooms only for customers.
Okay, I get it.
Was a pretty.
I want to say
extreme
I was
butchering.
still closer, but whatever.
Well, the context is that we refuse, being the people who own the building, to use the toilets.
They did it wrong. Don't try to justify it or make it make sense. They just did it wrong.
All right, moving on.
True.
AJ, you get first go at this one.
Okay.
This next one's kind of hard, and then they get easier. I just wanted to start it off interesting, I guess. Here goes. Debutante, confirmed, and even specialist. Nobody ends to learn.
Can you say it again?
Debutante, confirmed, and even specialist. Nobody ends to learn.
Oh my god. I hate this game.
What were they trying to say?
Something about like a specialist is here who continues to learn.
Okay.
Like I'm not sure what they mean by debutante, but somebody who someone who is a specialist but is also like in continued learning. Like they're never they've never finished learning their trade.
Why would you put?
You're not translating anything right now.
I'm not translating. I'm just saying what I think they're trying to say.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right, Marcus.
I need you to say that like twice.
Debutante, confirmed, and even specialist. Nobody ends to learn.
Oh my god.
Nobody.
I'm
ends
glad
to
you
learn.
guys are
This is the
enjoying
end.
this.
Debutante, even specialist.
debutante.
Even specialist.
Debutante, confirmed. Debutante,
Confirmed.
comma, confirmed, and even
Confirmed.
specialist.
And even
Oh,
specialist.
I didn't know there was a comma.
Yeah, it's a list.
Nobody ends to learn. Okay.
I'm gonna say that to the next time I'm in like a meeting with like 10 people. I'm just gonna say that randomly and see how people react.
Just say the last part. Nobody ends to learn.
Nobody ends to learn. We offer continued education for beauty pageant candidates.
Okay.
I don't know what debutante means, and I'm trying not to
You're
cheat by
close.
looking it up.
Debutante is often used, I think, more in the context that you used it. For like
Okay.
a young woman just getting her start in a field. But I'm gonna give it to Marcus for that round. It's for language lessons. So before the debutante part, it said French lessons. So it's supposed to be beginner, like intermediate, and like even like specialist or someone like with a lot of experience. Nobody
Okay.
ends to learn is like never stop learning, I guess.
Well, that's what I said, kind of.
So what's the context of this one?
It's like a posting
French
for like
lessons.
French lessons. Like, here's my number. Call me if you want French lessons.
What language is it in? Like what country?
I don't know. A lot of these didn't have a
Do you
lot
know?
of information. There was just the
Okay.
weird, just the awful text. So,
right.
yeah. And some of these I have the actual, what they were trying to say, and some of them, it's easy enough to, once you know the context, but.
Wow. Well, I hope their French is a sight better than their English.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
So he was translated to French and then to English from whatever their native language was.
I don't know.
Oh.
All right, AJ, you're up first. No, Marcus is first. This next one is eat your fingers.
Eat with your hands.
Okay. AJ, what do you think?
Eat your chicken fingers?
That's what you're going with?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. AJ, you're kind of closer. Marcus, you said eat with your
Really?
hands.
Like, yeah, eat with your hands. No utensils needed.
It's hard to say. The correct answer is I'm gonna go with a tie on that one. The translation is finger licking good.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
So by closer, neither one of us were close, is what you meant to say.
Well, you said eat with your hands, and like eating ribs, you're licking your fingers. I was a stretch either way.
Right.
But then AJ's like
Yeah.
chicken fingers, finger dipping, whatever. Doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Finger dipping good.
Finger dipping, great.
That's a 0 for both.
Yeah.
So how do you know that that's supposed to say finger licking good?
That one I actually knew. They provided the translation.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, next, AJ, you get first guess at this gem. Please do not eat children and elderly.
I would say it's a sign at a retirement home suggesting that you don't bring children to eat in the cafeteria with the old people so that they don't get sick.
That's a really good guess,
You're
especially
a piece of shit.
in this age. What do you think, Marcus?
Say it again.
Please do not eat children and elderly.
Oh, shit. Damn, I'm not going to be able to come up with anything other than what AJ already said.
Dig
Please
deep, man.
don't eat children or elderly people. Cannibalism isn't safe.
All right. I think I'm gonna give it to AJ.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like not for consumption by children and the elderly.
Okay.
So
Hold up. What? What is that?
Like a medicine?
I don't know. It was in like a store window for like some chips or something. I don't know.
Like super spicy, like murder
I
chips?
do not know. Maybe it's some kind of maybe it was like a Red Bull kind of thing, or I don't know.
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I just never heard of that before.
Yeah, it wasn't in an American.
Anything that's
country.
not safe for children or elderly
Damn.
probably shouldn't be doing
That's
it.
super age specific.
You must be between 21 and 45.
Elderly is as old as you feel.
Do really old people like die when they get drunk?
That's a great question.
I don't know. I've never been old.
'Cause I've
and
never
drunk.
seen a really old person drink.
I imagine that they're really old because they stopped drinking at some point, but I've also heard of people who drink
As long
and
as you
smoke.
keep drinking, you don't age. So if you're
Well,
old,
I know people who
it's
like drank and smoked like their whole
it's
lives
your
and
fault
they got
for
pretty
not
old.
drinking. Them's my
George
words.
Burns lived to like be 100. He smoked cigars like all the damn time.
Who?
George Burns.
Oh.
You know that
The
old
guy,
ass
I
dude?
can't remember his name. The guy who owns Southwest Airlines drinks like what's that turkey whiskey? Do you know
Wild
the name,
turkey.
Alan? Wild turkey, and eats like Ritz crackers every morning.
I heard
like, when he wakes up.
that's gross. I heard Warren Buffett drinks like some obscene number of Coca-Colas a day. It's like 15 or some crazy shit.
That's messed
And I'm
up.
just like you should.
You
be
know what
dead.
though? If I was a freaking
Maybe it's like 8, but still, that's a lot. That's a
Here's what all
lot.
that just shows me.
That's your daily intake of calories. That only
Here's-
Coca-Cola.
Here's the thing. All this tells me is that, like, if you're going to live long, you're going to live long. If you're going to die early, you're going to die early.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
you can do all your vegan shit and try to not be diabetic, but
But in
There's
the
a-
end,
You try to
we're
not be
all
diabetic.
there's
But in the long run, you're gonna be diabetic.
there's a bunch of people that, like, eat like shit, don't exercise or whatever, and they live forever.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people that are doing fine and they croak from a heart attack or something.
You know what I read yesterday? Betty White is 98.
the fuck? No, she's not.
Yes, she is. She's 98.
Holy shit.
Maybe it was 89, but I'm pretty sure it was 98.
I'm
No,
looking this
she's
up.
she's definitely in her 90s.
I'm fact checking
She
you now.
is 98 years old, and she's doing fine amidst the viral plague.
Jeez.
Sounds like she's ripe for dying.
ripe for dying. Coming to a theater never.
Clint
'cause
Eastwood,
theaters are over.
Betty White, and Sacha Baron Cohen for no reason.
You know who else is super old? William Shatner.
Is
Really?
Yeah.
he? Is he that old?
Yeah.
Is he ripe for dying?
Let me see. I'm looking it up right now. How old are you? Fucking look it up.
Hey, Pierce Brosnan, are you right for dying?
Where's Rosin's pretty
Hey,
old too.
Sean Connery, are you right for dying?
Bill Shatner's 89.
You want to be in a movie?
Yeah.
Bill Shatner.
Didn't he die? No.
Sean Connery?
Who's the Batman guy?
Adam
Adam
West.
West.
Adam
he
West.
died.
Yeah.
Yeah. Adam West.
Should
he
we finish this game?
We should.
died. That was a hard sidetrack. That's, whatever.
Hard reads.
Right.
I got the ad for next podcast. Guys, don't let me forget hard reads. Whose fucking turn is it? Marcus. Do not.
That's our next game. Whose fucking turn
Whose
is
fucking turn is it, Marcus? Marcus has to remember. Here he goes. Do not animals.
it? Oh my god.
Is that it?
No pets allowed.
Okay. Okay.
Do not animals
Do
is
not
it?
animals.
Okay. I'm going to go with do not feed the animals.
You nailed it on the head.
Damn
Yes.
it.
I'm not keeping score, but I think AJ's winning.
That is true.
Man, these people fucking suck. Mine makes so much more sense than that. Damn. Learn English.
I'm not going to lie, but sounds like they just forgot a word.
Yeah, that's what they did. All right, AJ, it's your turn. This is a doozy. Once own, comma, nothing can instead.
Own, like OWN?
As opposed to what?
Once
Own?
Once
As
own?
opposed
Like,
to not OWN?
no, like, what's the first word?
Once.
Once
ONCE.
own, comma.
Yeah.
What was the rest of it?
Nothing can instead. That sounds like an anime title. Nothing
It sounds
can
like
instead.
a subtitle for the new Neo Genesis Evangelion stuff.
I would say it's what like in video games where like Path of Exile where something's tied to your account. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
I don't know what the word is.
Binds to your account?
Binds, yes.
Sure.
I don't know.
All right. Final answer. Something about binding to your account.
Something about binding to
All
your
right.
account or binding to your
What do you
person.
think, Marcus?
I don't know.
I need you to say it again.
Once own, comma, nothing can instead.
Not for resale.
That's a good guess.
Ooh.
This was on. Okay, who am I gonna give it to? Not really. I'm gonna give it to Marcus.
It's fair.
But it was printed on like the case of a guitar, And I'm just guessing, but I think it was like, once you own this, you'll never go back, or nothing. It's the only one you'll ever need.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
No. Nothing
Or like
can
once
what?
you go black, you never go back. Nothing can.
I know what
instead.
you mean. I know what you mean.
Like the only one
Okay.
you'll ever need, or you'll never go back, or,
I'm way closer than AJ.
nothing can instead.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know why you even considered mine.
I don't either, because it didn't even make any sense. Don't bind your account.
He's talking about binding to his account.
What the fuck?
It has nothing to do with
Nothing to
whatever
do
you
at
just
all.
said.
I got one more. This is the whatever tiebreaker.
Okay.
The non-tiebreaker. I think it might be my favorite one. Who's first? Marcus. This is you get first crack. Do not put in children can be contacted.
What? I don't want to translate this. I don't like it.
I don't wanna. I can't do it.
Don't put in children. Can't be contacted.
Do not put in children can be contacted. All one sentence.
Oh my god.
No punctuation. Oh, this is better than I thought it would be.
Oh my god. Wow. Holy shit. Do not put. Oh god.
When you know what it is, you'll be like, oh,
Right. Can be contacted. That's what the last three words
yes,
are, right?
can be contacted.
Keep out of reach of children.
All right, what do you think, AJ?
I think I'm going to take it literally, and it's a form, and it says, do not put, quote, children can be contacted, end quote.
You forgot the word in.
Yeah, well, do not put in, quote, children can be contacted. Don't put it in the form. Just don't do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So this is like this is
Don't-
instructions on a form.
This
Do
is
not put your
instructions on a
children.
form.
Do not list your children as an emergency contact.
Yeah, don't do it.
All right, Marcus. Marcus, you nailed it.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Somebody wrote that as stupid. Did they even try to like look it up? I mean, the internet's a thing. Like you're
might
just
have been
like, I don't know,
pre-internet.
children cannot be contacted.
Language is hard, man.
Yeah, it really is.
When you're trying to do another language.
No, not in this case. You look up something similar in English and you copy that text and put it on that bottle. It's not a big deal.
It's true. If you look in like a manual, like a lawnmower manual, it's in
right.
like 17 languages. Just find the third line.
You know what? That's a good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah, just buy a fucking $10 T-ball set at the grocery
Yeah,
store.
because this isn't like we'll teach your debutantes how to speak French. Like that's a custom message.
Right.
So yeah, don't like keep out of reach of children is standard.
Yeah.
Like that's universal. So just find the plug and play.
Maybe
You're right.
they're not
You're
used
absolutely
to
right.
protecting children.
Maybe
other
they
countries.
just got lazy. And their cousin, Jing Pao, knows English. And they're like, just ask him, hey, Jing Pao, you know English? This is all in Chinese, by the way.
Yes, it is.
You know English? Yeah. Don't insert children because contacts. I don't know, whatever it was.
Yep.
Oh my god.
That's the game, folks.
That's
Thanks for
pretty good.
playing.
That was kind of fun.
Wow. Yeah. That wasn't bad. I like that one.
Not
Thanks.
bad.
I'll start. I'll keep underselling my shit.
Not too shabby.
So what's been going on, you nerds? What
Um,
have you been doing with your lives?
I watched Parasyte.
I'm earning my anime cred back because I have not been consistently watching anime, but I've watched 3, technically 4 anime in the past 2 weeks. I don't know.
What you watched?
That's pretty good.
I watched most of Parasyte.
Yeah.
I watched Kite, or A Kite.
Kaito.
I watched Kite Liberator.
Those are films? Those are movies?
Those are movie films.
Feature-length
Or
presentations?
not. They're about 45 minutes to an hour. I don't.
That's
They might
feature-length.
be OVAs.
They're probably OVAs. I don't know if I watched the cut version, because somebody talked about like there's a lot of like porno scenes in it, and while there is some like nudity, I didn't think it was excessive to the point where I would point it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you probably watched the cut. So you like shared with us earlier in the week that crazy, like super dope fight scene. It's not even a fight scene. I don't even know what to call it.
So yeah, this dude on Twitter randomly posted this scene from Kite of this girl pushing this dude out of a window, and then they fall through like an awning, or was it an awning? And basically fall onto a car, which falls.
No, they fell onto a bridge first.
Oh, okay, yeah, they fell onto a bridge. Yeah, skyline, yeah, and then that falls through, and then it drops through again and lands on a car, which drops through again and lands on a tanker full of gas, which doesn't explode until the sign that they were hanging on to falls on top of that and explodes and launches her through a window onto a mattress. And I was like, I gotta watch this anime, whatever it was. And I had heard things about it. I hadn't really heard good things about it, but I looked it up. It was only 45 minutes, so it must have been the cut version, because Kite Liberator was an hour, so it was an OVA. Yeah. But I'm okay with if they cut out a bunch of scenes that I didn't really need to see. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, you probably watched the cut version, because like after you showed me that ridiculous scene, I like had to look it up. And then Jerome was saying that he had owned it and watched it and said it was crazy. So I was like, all right, I need to watch this at some point. And on Wikipedia, it's a 1998 film. The genre is crime, comma, girls with guns, comma, hentai.
Okay.
Wow.
I did not watch the hentai version.
So yeah, you probably didn't. And I was reading in other places that there was like a cut version where they like took out some stuff. So there's a uncensored version, which is an hour long, and then there's a censored version that's 45 minutes
Okay, I
long.
definitely watched the censored one then, which I'm okay with. I don't think it needed to have any additional hentai scenes. Kite Liberator is basically they took everything that was good about Kite and said, nope, we don't need any of this. And made a completely different
Was it like
movie.
Ghost in the Shell, where they just took the name and then
basically like
shit on it?
I couldn't even tell you if it's the same girl. It's not, but it's the same. She looks the same, and she kind of has like the same abilities, but her backstory is different. Her current story is different, and the story in general is just awful. And there's literally a guy who sounds like a Muppet. Like I watched the dub. It sounds like a dude trying to imitate Yoda. And it's like this big fat guy. I don't know why he was trying to make
funny.
like Muppet voices for this character, but it was bad.
It's a 90s anime. I can already hear the dude's voice in my head.
Yeah.
I already know what this dude sounds like.
Was it like creepy Yoda? Because I can hear that definitely.
Yeah. Not after he gives up his disguise.
What do you think's gonna happen when you find the girl?
It wasn't even that good, honestly. It was worse than that. The dude sounded like more like Kermit the Frog, really. He's like, let's see if I can impersonate it. What are you guys doing over here in my diner?
Oh my god, that sounds exactly like what I have in my head.
Yeah, that's dead on.
It was awful. And
that's crazy.
There was a lot of like space stuff. Like the movie starts, and I had to do like a double take because I was like, "Is this really the same movie?" It starts in space, and there's like a crew of people. Like the first one's like kind of grounded on Earth at least, and it's surrounding like 3 or 4 main characters, all taking place within this city. And then you start the second one, and they're in space for like the first 10 minutes. It's like, what in the hell's going on? This has nothing to do. And then you cut down to Earth, and you find the girl who's like an assassin. Okay, I get the connection, I guess, but it really didn't. It's hard to call it a sequel It's just
That's like if John Wick 4 was in space for no reason.
right. John Wick 4 starts out like a Star Wars movie, and then they cut down to John Wick. But it's not really John Wick. It's just a guy who looks like John Wick and like acts like him. And it's not Keanu Reeves, and he just starts doing stuff, and that's the whole movie. And John Wick never shows up, and anything that was good about John Wick is just not in the movie.
There's no fighting in it at all.
He's just like going to the grocery store and like
He decides to
walking his
become
dog.
a florist.
It's like the John Wick movie, like between John Wick movies. It's like, I ain't got much going on today, guys.
Like
Go
the
watch this
Dragon
movie.
Ball filler episode. Like Goku tries to get his license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
But
that
like
shit.
what I liked about Kite was just like I don't know if I give like a free pass to that classic style of anime with like the over the top heads exploding gunshots and explosions and ridiculousness, and like the art style is always looks like there's more effort put into it than like modern day anime.
Yeah.
But it's more appealing to me. And there's a whole channel, I don't know if you guys know about it, called Retro Crush.
Retro Crush.
Yeah, they got all kinds of good stuff out there.
Yeah, I saw some people posting clips of that on YouTube. I was like, man, I might have to go back and watch some of this. Like, there was a dude that put a clip of Jinro up.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that depressing ass anime?
I don't know if I can watch
But
that.
I was
Never
looking
watched
at
that one,
I
but-
was looking at the animation. I thought the same thing, but I was looking at the animation. I was like, man, I might just have to do it. Like, I might just have to be sad for a week because it looks so good.
It
And I
does.
remember liking it a lot, even
Yeah.
though it was really sad.
Yeah, and like just the style of animation is so good.
Well,
like
it's-
this hard
was-
hand-drawn lines, like
Yeah.
deep blacks and all that
What-
stuff. Like, it's really good.
Well, like the stuff that got us into anime was like they were really trying to make animation for adults. And
Right.
like now anime is, there's a lot of shonen stuff and there's a lot of there's all different kinds.
Well, a
And
lot of it's
it's
like
also-
cookie cutter too.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's a lot of just people trying to crank out their shit.
right. You look
But-
at like
But it feels like the early stuff feels like they had something to prove.
right. Well, you look at like 70% of the new animation that comes out. Like, it all looks like it comes out of the same artist, same studio. People just cranking out characters. Like, here's this character doing this thing, these same poses, these same kind of anime tropes, I guess. I don't really
Yeah.
like using that word, but that's what it is. And
I mean, it's a word for a reason.
right, yeah. They just crank them out, and that's how it, that's how they make money, I guess. Make them cheap, make them fast, on to the next season. But like the older stuff just seems like they put so much more love into it.
I mean, that's kind of the world now. Like, make it as cheap and as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, they don't make them like they used to. I sound like a fucking boomer, but like,
Man, fuck it. Embrace it.
Sometimes they do.
okay.
I'm boomer as shit and I don't care.
We're millennials, sir.
I mean, technically, I don't feel like one though.
Yeah,
But like with the whole thing that you were saying, Alan, like a perfect example of that is like two things that happened in our lifetime, which was Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies versus the Hobbit
Yeah.
movies. I remember like the making of the Lord of the Rings movies. I can't remember like how much time it was exactly, but there was like years of planning for that movie before they even started pre-production or like casting even
Yeah.
or anything. Like they were just thinking about how the hell are we going to make this movie? And then when they finally figured all that stuff out, if you like watch the special features and stuff, like which me and my wife, we like salivate over that stuff. Just like all of the work that they put into like the miniatures and the wardrobes and everything else. It was just like this whole project just took years and years and years. And they seemed like they cared about getting it right more than doing it fast. And if you like fast forward to like the whole fiasco that was the Hobbit trilogy, possible.
And you can tell, like, you can look at the scenes from, like, the scene where they're going down the river in the barrels. It
Yeah.
looks like ass now. They did a horrible
Yeah.
job on that. It does not hold up. But like, the original Lord of the Rings effects hold up pretty well because they didn't try to
Yeah, and
overdo it.
with the hard angles and reflected light or whatever. But like, why would you not like refer to the original Lord of the Rings trilogy that Peter Jack made, and just so like, hey, all of this shit that was awesome, let's do that again, and then add the things where we need to. But that's a whole nother episode, which we're not even gonna do because those movies are like freaking old themselves anyway. But all that to say, like, yeah, we're just in an era where things just need to be done fast, and nobody gives a shit. Like CD Projekt Red is like the last company that cares about doing something right instead of doing it right now.
That is what it feels like. And well, I was watching a documentary about Hayao Miyazaki and how much of a labor of love like all his movies are, and I think that's you can see that for sure. And I think they talked about, you know, how he made Ponyo and it took him forever and he kept struggling with like getting the storyboards out and getting the story right. But then you see it at the end and it's like, wow, this is actually really, really good.
His movies never lacked for that detail.
Right.
Like even his later ones still they're still so impressive.
Right.
To look at as far as the animation goes.
Yep. That was actually one of the other anime I watched in the last 2 weeks. That's a great one because my kids like that movie. Ponyo, so I can watch that.
I didn't think he did that one though.
He did.
I thought that was Studio Ghibli, but not Miyazaki.
No, you're thinking of crap. Arrietty, maybe?
No, Arrietty is him.
Okay. I don't know. I can't remember. I know what you're talking about, but yeah,
we'll check it later.
Yeah, not a big deal.
Somebody will fact check us. Put it in the comments that don't exist.
Comments on YouTube. Just tweet
Be our
at
first comment,
something.
please.
Please, we need comments. There's only one guy who comments, and it's not fair because we know him already.
Every first commenter gets a free 5-piece and a biscuit. Mailed to your
Finger
house.
licking good.
Finger licking. Eat your fingers.
Eat your
Good.
fingers.
Eat your fingers, chicken.
Eat your fingers.
No, there was
Now
one that
with
I almost
biscuits.
used. It was Kyoto fried chicken, and it was like they kept saying Kyoto like in the description. It was like, come in for a refreshing Kyoto and chicken entree. It was like,
What?
use this? Yeah, exactly.
The
They
taste
did that
of
like
Kyoto.
they did that like 3 times.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Also try a cold Kyoto with ice.
KFC's big on Christmas in Japan.
Big on
I think it's Christmas. Like on Christmas Day, people order KFC.
You meant like KFC is like very pro Christmas.
Oh,
KFC's
we're big
we're
on
big
Christmas.
on-
Specifically in
Christmas.
Japan, though. Specifically, they don't give a shit about other
Low on
countries.
calories, big on Christmas.
They're like, hey guys, how we gonna get them to take Christmas more seriously in Japan?
Let's get the Colonel involved.
Chicken.
The gift numbers are plummeting.
Hey, you Japs, you guys still go by Japs?
God.
Colonel, it's not 1942 anymore.
Earl, did you say
Colonel, the Colonel,
Oh, Colonel.
Sanders. You know he's a World War II Colonel. He's old, man.
Yeah, okay. You could have led with that.
Well, okay, yeah, you're right.
No, I think it was
No,
fine
that was
just the way
great.
it was.
You did it. Shoot.
So would you recommend Kite?
I would recommend Kite. I would not recommend Kite Liberator unless you want to watch something and just shake your head the whole time at how bad it is.
Okay,
enjoy a
maybe,
good 45.
Maybe we'll watch Kite and we could talk about it more in depth.
I enjoy a good
Some
45-minute
other
head
time.
shake.
Yeah, you can watch them both in under 2 hours. So, and they're both on Tubi TV, and I think they're both on YouTube. Just Google it. I'm sure you can find it.
Tubi. I don't.
I
Tubi,
think they're on Crunchyroll too.
Crunchyroll, Prime, Amazon
Possibly.
Prime, maybe. Anyway, and I also watched Altered Carbon Resleeved,
Yeah.
which was
What'd you think?
way better than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art style. It was CG anime, but it was good.
Yeah, they actually tried.
They actually tried. The violence is way over the top, which is the way I like violence, because I don't know why. It's very bloody. It got a little too gory towards the end. It was a little much when he
Yeah.
was like bashing the dude.
Well, gory is fun when the action is exciting.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just gory just to be gory, like that's It's like, all right, now I just feel dirty.
It was towing the line, but overall, it was good. I enjoyed it. I thought the story. I don't watch Altered Carbon. I think I watched like half of the first season. It just didn't really stick with me. But this one, I think, was understandable. Like, you can watch it standalone. You don't have to have seen the series. I think you get more out of it if you have seen the series, but
I think so too, because I haven't seen the series or read the books, so I didn't know anything about it. And this was a nice, clean, simple story.
right.
That it was basically like, here are your players. Here's what they're dealing with. Go.
I would say it's like Animatrix was to the Matrix. Like, you can watch Animatrix standalone. You don't have to have seen the original movies. It definitely helps if you have, but
to understand some of the terminology and things like that.
Right, and there's probably some overlap with the actual series. I don't know. But
yeah, I'll be interested, Alan, for you to watch it, because I know that you made it through the first and part of the second season of the Alter Carbon live action American show.
Yeah. Now the world building is sick. So I'm curious to see what how that translates into like a standalone story.
But since we all watched Parasyte, let's talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah. So I want to take some credit because I'm the one who told y'all to watch it, because I saw that it came to Netflix.
You're the guy,
like,
Marcus. You did the thing. You're the reason
Yep.
we're all here.
Yay.
You're the MVP of the anime conversation pieces.
It's been on my I should probably watch this list
And
for a
you're
long
definitely not a dick about it.
time. And I like it. I like the story. It's funny. Well, there's some scenes that I look at, I'm like, this probably looks really good in the manga, but sometimes you kind of lose that edge when you translate from manga to the anime. Like, especially like the scenes with the grittier looking monsters, the grittier looking parasites, that they kind of look silly in the anime, but if you show them in like almost like a Junji Ito style in the manga, I haven't read the manga, but I feel like I should, to get that like edgier detail on those parasites to make them more like creepy looking.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the artist. I don't know much about the original manga either. I just watched it. Man, I watched it years ago because it's been on Hulu forever. So I watched it on that. But I was excited when it came to Netflix because I think they're bringing a lot of anime to Netflix, and a lot of the stuff seems very uninteresting to me. So when I saw Parasyte was a part of the roster now, I was like, what? Just telling everybody to watch it because I loved it. It's sci-fi horror, which I think is a genre that I appreciate, but I don't dive into that much. But when I do dive into it, I'm always pleasantly surprised, especially when the story is told very convincingly.
Right.
And I think this one is. I mean, the opening scene is dope. Like, you have the main character giving this monologue. He's like, a long time ago, somebody said life was precious or whatever. And it's just this scene of this man and his wife, you assume, and she's crying, and he's just holding her by the shoulders. And then all of a sudden, his whole head opens up into this alien tentacle mouth, and then he bites her head clean off. That's your introduction to the show.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
I'm watching this.
Yeah, I was just like, oh. Because I didn't really know. You said horror, and I was like, okay, well, like, I can get down on some horror every once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
But
It got real dark real fast. What I accidentally realized about the show is, like, a couple weeks ago, one of the newer Rick and Morty episodes mentioned the Bechdel Test. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Nope.
So basically, it's to pass the Bechdel test, you need to have two named female characters in a
I've heard of that.
Yeah, in a movie or in a TV show, talking to each other and not talking about the main character. And this show fails that hard. It does not even come close at all.
Is this a test about, like, inclusivity or
Yeah,
like
it's representation and,
Yeah,
gender equality and all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like most anime fail.
Well, like
that.
the first 10 minutes, it's like his hand, the parasite lives in his hand, and his hand basically like takes a mind of its own briefly, and he grabs like the girl, his crush, it like grabs her breast.
Yeah.
And then like they like make light of the whole thing where like she slaps him, but then it's like, oh, I'm sorry, and it's not like, oh yeah, you're a it's
You're a
okay
creep now.
it's okay, you sexually assaulted me, but like
Well, in the case of this show, I don't know if it's so much that like every character talks about the main character more. It's Shinichi, right? Shinichi's the main character.
Yeah.
Every character talks about him all the time, or definitely the female characters always talk about him, and they never talk to each other about anything but him.
Yep.
So it definitely fails in that regard. But I can't tell if it's just because every character's talking about him, because there are a lot of other characters that are constantly talking about either just parasites in general, or talking about specifically Shinichi or that other guy that he meets that also has a parasite. So it's interesting that that came up, and I was kind of thinking about that. As I was watching Parasyte and saying, "Wow, this does not."
wait, how did the Bechdel test come up?
It was mentioned on a Rick and Morty episode, one of the
okay.
newer ones,
I see.
and I had talked about it with some friends a couple years ago. We were talking about it and how certain things like Star Wars movies failed it pretty hard until the newer ones. There are some anime that pass it pretty well. Some surprising ones. I had a list before. Let me pull that up, actually.
My Hero, I would imagine, does.
Probably. Here's the...
Actually, you said within what, the first 10 minutes? For 5 minutes? How much time is it?
It's like first half of the first episode. It's one of the first
Okay.
things that happens.
It might just fail it because My Hero doesn't actually feature a lot of female characters, like, in the first episode at all. It focuses around Deku for the most part,
Right.
if I remember correctly.
So most...
But later in the show, like, the female characters there's a lot of them, and they have their own motivations and things.
Right, yeah. So most Miyazaki movies pass. Let's see.
Not surprising.
Yeah, My Hero's not listed on this random article from Anime Planet, but Attack on Titan is in there. That passes. Let's see. Promised Neverland.
Yeah.
Wolf Children, obviously.
Yeah.
Made in Abyss. So there's quite a few out there that pass it pretty well. I think a lot of them have female main characters, which kind of, I don't know if that just means that they pass by default or what, but
Well, the test says they have to talk to somebody else.
right, two named
So-
female characters talking about someone other than a male main character.
Right.
Demon Slayer passes.
Hell yeah, it does.
Trying to think of how Demon Slayer would pass, but that's
Yeah, I was just thinking of Demon Slayer.
Because
but
in
I couldn't.
the beginning, the family has the mother and girls,
okay.
his sisters.
Yeah, but they're not really.
which I'm sure, but they have names.
I mean,
Yeah,
okay, but
technically.
they're not really main characters.
no, it doesn't have to be two main characters.
Yeah,
it's
but
two
I don't know,
named
I just
characters.
Two
feel-
named
I feel like
females.
that's okay.
I didn't make
Like
the
I'm
rules.
going,
No,
I'm
no,
going
that's
strictly by
fine.
the
Yeah, that's fine.
definition.
I just wouldn't give it to it just for that.
Probably not. I don't know.
But do
Anyway.
you remember their names?
Nope, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't remember some of the guys' names either, but they still had names.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't remember anyone's name in anime.
That's because you listen to dubs and you don't read it.
No.
If you read it, the names get stuck in your
Okay,
head.
speaking of dubs, I think I told you all this, but I need everyone to know. I need all 5 of our listeners to be aware. The new hotness. It's not about subs or dubs. It's about dubs with the English subtitles, so that way you can see the difference between the literal translation or the text translation and the voice acted translation.
I've tried doing that before, and it just confuses me.
The differences are very interesting.
I agree, and also
That's old. That's actually old hotness, Boomer. But
New hotness for me, all right?
But that's only fun with stuff that's shitty, because otherwise you're getting distracted from the story of awesomeness that's happening before
Well,
you.
I guess Parasyte is shitty then, because that's what I've been doing it with, and I'm liking it. And I just dogged you with your own dog.
That's actually my problem, because like certain shows I like to watch with the subtitles, even like English shows, just because I don't know, I like having it on. I have old stupid ears, but like with anime, it's annoying because the dubs never match the subs, which I understand why, but also it's very annoying when I'm watching it and the subs are on and they don't match. And
I just hate. Oh, go ahead.
well, they need like an option for like the closed caption versus the actual subs. They need both.
They ain't got time for you.
Yes, they do. G Kids did it, I think.
Well, I was rewatching it again because I wanted to be refreshed. Because, like I said, the first time I watched it was years ago, and since I had already seen it, I went ahead and watched it in dubs while I was working on other stuff. And like, I still contend, man. Like, I don't like dubs. I do not like the main character in English as much as I do in Japanese, because he sounds like fucking like a young Tony Danza or some shit. And it pisses me off. I do not like his voice.
He does sound like a young Tony Danza.
He's like, "Oh, come on, Miki, not now."
I realized today when I was watching
bro.
it, I didn't like his voice.
Yeah,
I never minded it before, but today I was just like, his voice kind of sucks.
it's not good, man. My wife, like Faith, was like just chilling in the room, and she's like, "Is it this bad in Japanese?" I'm like, "No, it's not. It's not like this."
But
I don't like it.
It's tolerable. I don't mind it so much. Like I think it gets better like once he gets past like the nerd stage. Like it fits his personality better. But I think like dubs more recently have gotten better at matching the like voice levels and intonation of the Japanese voice actors. So like Miki, you switch between Japanese and English, like her voice sounds the same. It's just different language.
I think that, yeah, Migi's fine. Like in English to Japanese, that translates pretty good. All I know is that like when I first started listening to it in dub, because you guys know my stance on dub. For those who don't know, like I'm subs all the way. Like I like to hear shit in the original language. But when I first started listening to it, I was like, it's fine, it's okay. But then as I'm hearing it, as I'm working on other stuff, like I'm just realizing slowly, I'm like, this dude's voice gets on my nerves. Like, I don't like it. He's like, "Oh, come on, Mom.
Can I have more meat sauce balls, please?"
Yeah, what are y'all worried about? It's okay. Nothing's wrong. God. I'm just like, oh my God.
Teenager. Yeah, it's it didn't bother me until today, but we got there.
Yeah, I feel like the opposite from AJ. Like I was fine with it, and then I became less and less fine with it as time went on.
I don't know. Like I think I just got used to it, and it's a convenience thing for me, honestly. And like, I don't know if it's just my age or if I just haven't given subtitles enough time recently, but I just seem to relate better to the dubs than I do reading subtitles. It's not to say that I can't enjoy a movie that's subtitled, but I don't know. It takes more concentration for me to grasp the story and the characters if I have to read the subtitles than just
Well, yeah, I mean that's not weird. It's more about a willingness or an affinity to do so.
Honestly, like
obviously it's going to take more effort to read.
Some of the translation of the subtitles like is almost nonsensical for Parasyte. Like they'll say something like, I'm trying to think of the example. They'll say like, "What are you?" Or like he'll say to Migi like, "Oh, that's really how can you say that? How can you talk about people like they're just tools or whatever?" This is a made up example. But then the translation or the subtitles will be like, do you even hear what you're saying? Or like, "Are you even yourself right now?" Or something like that. "Are you aware of yourself?" Where like, you know what I mean? Like there's the context is kind of lost.
Yeah, I understand that. but on another level, I don't really care in some ways.
Yeah, I mean,
because,
it's little details.
In some cases,
but...
I guess you kind of lose what the original creator was intending in some ways, but for me, it doesn't bother me so much. And I think it's particularly like stuff like that is particularly prevalent in like Steins Gate, where they, instead of translating, what makes sense in the context of like Japanese culture, they make it make sense in the context of American culture, and it just sticks better.
I think it's the opposite, actually. I think
What do you mean?
I think that what they're trying to do is they can't transliterate, and what I mean by that is directly translate word for word what they're saying. But I think that they have to rearrange it to make sense for how Japanese people would use a phrase or understand it, meaning that it seems out of context for an American viewer, but because of how they use the language, it makes sense in that way for Japan.
Right, and that's fine, and I'm not arguing that that's a valid way to do it, but I feel like you can sometimes get more out of a dub if it translates to something that an American would understand in the context of America, rather than translating it to American but keeping it in the context of Japan, where it doesn't necessarily make sense. Well,
nah, bro.
I say American because I mean like American context, not American language, but you know what I mean.
Not the language of
well,
American.
part of the reason I like subs is because I like watching things in their native language, because I like the cultural differences. Like I don't necessarily want their media to cater to me so much as I'm willing to learn more about them, and I like that. Like, right, like a good example of that is, and it's understandable that they do this, but in a lot of comedy anime. So the two that I'm thinking of specifically that I've had exposure to are Cromartie High School and Penny and Stocking. And in both of those, if you watch the English, they write a bunch of pop culture stuff from America, like in the dubs, that is completely different than what they say in the Japanese. And I get why they do that, because it's a comedy show. So if in Japan they make some pop culture reference that's not going to be funny and hit for us, like it's not going to make so much sense. So that's why they translate it over. So like I get that, but I don't watch a whole lot of comedy anime, so I don't really lose anything when I'm watching something like Parasyte that's like a dramatic sci-fi horror thing. Like I'm more willing to just take it as they present it and kind of fill in the blanks. And I think at this point in time, I don't understand Japanese culture 100%, but from watching so much anime, like I get some things more. Like I get the whole thing where they sneeze and somebody's like, "Oh, somebody's talking about you." Like that's not an American thing at all. Like we don't associate sneezing with that. And we don't think of it as like even like a spirit trying to leave our body or something like that. But that's the thing that you see a lot of the times in anime. So personally, I just like that stuff.
I appreciate that too, because like there are certain times in certain movies and shows that I want to embrace more of the Japanese culture. Like anytime like a Miyazaki movie comes up, like as drenched in Japanese culture and drenched in whatever the culture of that particular the context of the movie or whatever world he's building, and like I'm all about that kind of stuff. But certain shows like this one, like you can kind of grasp the Japanese elements through like he goes to school and he does the traditional Japanese high school kid thing, and he travels around Japan, but really like it's not about Japanese culture in this show. It's just about getting wrapped up with a parasite and fighting things. So it can kind of work in any culture, not necessarily has to be Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Fair.
At any event, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's a good
I'm glad
show.
that you both are into it.
I'm gonna finish it. I got like 5
yeah,
episodes
I'm
left.
really enjoying it. I got distracted this week, but I'm gonna put all my efforts into finishing it. Just like I said last time.
Do it.
Yeah, because it gets good. Like it starts good and then it keeps getting good. There are some aspects. It's interesting that you brought up what's it called, the Bechdel test.
Bechdel test.
It's interesting that you brought up the Bechdel test without spoiling you too much, Alan. There's like a storyline that involves a girl. That's probably the only thing that I don't like about the anime.
Because you're a sexist.
You're far enough to know what I'm talking about, AJ. Well, it's not the girl's fault. It's just how she's written.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think she's interesting, and they put it in there to try to make things more interesting, but it doesn't.
Are you talking about Kana?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate her storyline, but yeah, she didn't really need to be there. Somebody pointed out on Twitter that like all the females in this show are just kind of ditzy and dumb. And I was like, I was kind of looking for it. I was like, yeah, I kind of get it. But the more I watch the show, the more I'm like, yeah, he's kind of right.
No, this show's great, but it fails that test hard. Really
it does,
hard.
Yeah. The female characters are pretty bad. Like they're all one-dimensional for the most part, and it's all about like, oh, what's this main character? We need to know what he's up to, and blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I mean, to be fair though, like almost every character that's not Migi or Shinichi or any other Parasyte is kind of uninteresting in this show. They just decided to put like more girl characters that aren't interesting in it than guy characters. Because he doesn't even really hang out with any other guys.
Yeah, this is true. He has no dude friends. It's like his dad is like the only other male character
right,
so far.
Exactly. And I mean, his dad's fine. I mean, it's cool to see him because usually you don't even see people's parents in anime that follow a high school student. Oftentimes they're just come home to an empty house. So it's nice that you actually see him with his parents like eating breakfast and talking to him and stuff. But they're not terribly deep or interesting characters. They're just his parents that are likable enough. And that's about it. But
yeah,
but I think that the core of the story is strong enough that that you can look past like its flaws. Like the flaws are like more nitpicks. They're more things that's like, yeah, you could have changed that or you didn't need it, but it doesn't really break anything. Because at the end of the day, it's really about his experience with this Parasyte thing that's in his hand and the arm. And quite honestly, the Parasyte is my favorite character in the show. Like, Migi is my favorite non-human character in any anime because I usually hate non-human characters in anime. They're not cute. They're annoying. Migi's fucking awesome.
And character-wise, like I feel like she takes a while, or Migi takes a while to develop into, like, it's kind of late in the series that you start to see, like, why Miki understands what Shinichi's doing from the context of, human perspective. Mm-hmm. At least it takes a while for it to kind of take shape, but I don't really have a complaint about that. It's just more of an observation.
Well, I mean, I think that's intentional. I think that's part of the arc is that
right.
Migi starts out as just this Parasyte that is only concerned with self-preservation and has entered into this more like symbiotic relationship with Shinichi than actually just being a Parasyte where they benefit each other. And it's not out of camaraderie that Migi's doing it, but basically, like, as it says, like, to maximize my health, my well-being, I have to keep you alive. That's why I'm doing this.
Right.
So that happens, but then they go through a bunch of stuff, and then it starts to change slowly and gradually, and that's fun to see. And it's cool that it does take a while. Like, I'm really glad that this show is 26 episodes and not like 12 or 13, because I think it adds more weight, and it could have been, I think, a show that was like half as long and still been satisfying because it's a very definitive story that it tells. But having that extra time is cool. And then there's like a lot of other things that I won't talk about because I don't want to spoil too much for Alan. But there's a lot of other turns that the show takes, and the whole scenario kind of becomes bigger in ways that I think the 26 episode format allows for in the story. So it's not necessarily just this one thing from the beginning to the end. The dynamic kind of changes, and I like that.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of filler in there. It's really feeding the whole story from, beginning to end. And I like that it's only one. I think it's technically 24 episodes. But I like that it's only one season and that they didn't do more, because I feel like as I'm watching it, I'm like, okay, this is going to reach a conclusion in the next 5 episodes, and that makes it feel like the pacing is really on point.
Yeah.
So that it makes me watch it more, because I'm like, okay, I'm definitely going to get something new in the next episode, and the next episode, and the next episode. And I know it's not going to get dragged out and feel like filler for the next, 6 episodes to leave a cliffhanger, and then, we'll finish it in the next season. So completing that story in that allotted amount of time makes for a better paced show.
Yeah. Yeah, I do not want them to make another series. I think that this is stronger just standing on its own. I do know that they did make a live action, which I have no interest in watching.
I watched the trailer for it after I'd watched a few episodes, and it looks so bad.
Yeah, they all just look like...
Can't even look at it. I just wanted to see what the CG looked like, and it's as bad as you think it is.
Oh my god. I wonder if they do that to try to like entice American audiences more. I really want to know. I gotta research this.
I think it's just a cash grab. I think it's like, oh, this is a popular anime. Let's make it into a live action movie and put it in theaters and charge, $15 a ticket.
Yeah, but like, do they actually do more people actually see it? Like, is that a thing that's like
in Japan? Maybe.
Yeah, I guess I wonder where the market for that lies specifically.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be worth it to produce a whole film for just a few people who would be interested in it. Maybe there's more than I think, what do I know? But
I think there's a pretty big audience for people who like
whack shit.
People love whack shit, man.
I don't know. It's very strange. But I get what you're saying. Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm going to look it up, actually. Hang on.
What are you looking up? Why live action
live-action
anime
movie
exists?
and, like, if it made money. It made $10 million worldwide.
What was the budget?
Wow.
Does it put the budget in here? I don't see a budget. It made most money in South Korea.
Oh, wow.
And then Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and Singapore. So even in Japan, it didn't even really release in Japan.
Huh.
It's interesting. So yeah, I guess it's those Chinese markets. I think a lot of people, that's dumb. Parasyte Part 2 did release in Japan. And it grossed like 12 million.
Jeez.
I don't get it. Anyway.
I guess
Maybe
it's just not for us.
It seems like the Chinese audience really likes Chinese actors. I don't even know if these are Chinese actors. It's hard to tell.
Wow.
Accidental racism.
I didn't really mean to say that.
I know. That's what makes it so funny.
Hey, this dude's definitely Japanese.
I mean, look at the names.
No.
No, I don't want to learn how to distinguish.
Yes, they're Japanese.
But
sometimes even like having a Chinese actor will gross the sales in China. Like the Transformers movies.
Yeah.
Those things like did gangbusters in China.
Yeah, they
because
love
there was
them.
like one Chinese actor in it.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I discovered this recently. They sure don't like black actors in China.
Really?
Yeah, man. So it's happened a long time ago, but I only just stumbled on it like a couple weeks ago. But like I was just online and I came across this article that was talking about the controversy of a poster for Rise of Skywalker. That the Chinese poster, they shrunk down freaking Finn's character to not be as prominent in the poster.
Dang. That's crazy.
Be doing that.
Cause they don't like black people.
I mean, overall, the world does not like black people.
I mean, that's true. Overall, the world doesn't like a lot of people.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they don't like black people, but they don't like each other a whole lot either. Like Asians in college, the people that I met that hated Asians the most were other Asians.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's
There's
funny.
a lot of.
I mean, it's not funny. It's sad, but it's like, I don't know.
All I know is
From an American perspective, it's like, you're all Asian. I mean, that's super racist, but like, why are y'all hating on each other? Like, you're kind of on the same, like if the world gets cut in half, like you're all on that same half together.
I have
So
two of my favorite things.
That
Two of my
has very little.
two of my favorite bits of racism that ever happened. First was a friend in college who was Asian, who I watched all the anime with. Like, he was the guy that I watched anime with, him and another dude. And he was the reason why I knew so many Asian people in college, because like I met them through him. We'd be walking on campus and he'd be like, "Ugh, look at those Asians over there." I'm like, dude,
dang.
every time I go to your house for a party, there's a bunch of Asians there that you invited. So I'm confused right now. He's like, yeah, but they're not that kind. I'm like, okay. And then second, I remember, I think the movie is Chinese Connection. It's called, in Hong Kong, they called it something else. I think it was Fist of Fury. But anyway, it's about Japan's occupation of China, specifically, I think in Shanghai in this movie. So the Japanese were occupying Shanghai, but they set up like establishments that only Japanese people were allowed in and Chinese people weren't, or whatever. So Bruce Lee in the movie is like eating. He's not supposed to be in there. And then there's like a Japanese military officer that goes up to him and he like kind of bends over and he goes, "Are you Chinese or Japanese?" And I was just thinking in my head like, hey man, if you have to ask, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
That was on we've been watching Westworld, and that was basically the thing the episode we watched last night. It was like, if you can't tell, does it matter?
that's what Bruce Lee's character should have said. But instead he just beat the dude's ass because it's Bruce Lee.
That's a better answer.
It's appropriate.
I don't know, and I don't care. Ass kicking commences.
In conclusion, you guys need to finish Parasyte because it's great.
I'm gonna finish it as soon as I can.
And-
probably try tomorrow.
And
maybe.
Alan, you need to watch Alter Carbon Resleeved because I want to get a take from somebody who was a fan of the at least the first season of the Netflix American Alter
Yeah, I don't
Carbon.
think I'm gonna finish the second season. Not feeling it.
Yep, and then watch Kite because it's short and sweet.
Okay, yeah. I'll do that. I'm gonna
You
find.
don't have to watch Kite Libations or whatever the other one is.
Kite libation.
Kite Libation.
You might want to intake some libation while trying to
that
watch
might
it.
make it better. Actually, you know what? I honestly think you should watch it because it's just so different and not good.
I'll watch that with people. I think I'll do that. The first one I'm interested enough to watch it by myself. The second one I'll try to do like a group watch because it sounds funnier that way.
It's more fun with people to laugh at it with.
But that original
sure.
Kite, I'm gonna try to find the uncensored because I'm Beaver Stevens.
Beaver Stevens.
Or whatever his last name was.
Beaver Sleever.
Beaver Stevens.
Beaver Sleeve.
Beaver Stevens is somehow worse.
It's that Steven's name, man. You can't trust those guys.
Nope.
Why would your name be Beaver? That's a horrible name.
Follow.
Yes, let's wrap this up. Follow us on Twitter at Otaku for the latest anime and manga deals. And also at Otaku Cast for the podcast, where I tweet jokes sometimes. And I tweet stuff that we put on YouTube and tweet links to the podcast. And you can tweet at us if you love or hate whatever you hear. I want people to listen to the Promare episode and argue with us about why you think it's good. And we can go back and forth because I think that would be fun. Not enough people are doing that. So go listen to why we didn't love Promare and tell us why you do love Promare. And we'll go from there. And then maybe I'll give you a cookie or something. And anything else? BrokeOtaku.com.
I still got that 5-piece and a biscuit.
5-piece and biscuit.
For the first
finger
comment.
Eating, eat your fingers good.
Finger eating good.
That's all I got. So, anybody else? Final words? Final thoughts?
Don't do children in the contact.
But I'm Beaver Stevens.
Don't contact Beaver Stevens with your children. Wait till the kids are in bed.
It's the best advice I've heard all week.
Don't use the toilet forcefully.
Go in the bathroom, turn the light off, and say Beaver Stevens 3 times.
Oh my God.
And then the police will come.
Broke Otaku Podcast is not responsible for what happens to you should you take those actions.
Should you follow the advice of the Broken Otaku Podcast?
All right, and with that, we will see you guys next time.
Beam us out, Scotty.
Later.
Well,